Hello and welcome to the Best Today podcast. I am Shantae Grant, and today I am in conversation with my very own running coach, BFF in my head, Kirsten Ferguson, Peloton tread instructor. If you know me at all, you know my love run deeps, one for Peloton in general, and two for Kirsten. Now, just in case you do not know who Kirsten is, I'm going to read you a little of her bio and then tell you in my own words, who Kirsten Ferguson is. Kirsten welcomes runners of all levels in her motivating classes at Peloton. She is a successful career woman turned fitness instructor who wholeheartedly embraces the changes that life brings. After 7 years of working with the NFL, she shifted her focus to her family, and her journey to motherhood was not easy, as she shares in many of her classes. And fitness really helped Kirsten strengthen her body and soul during really difficult times. Kirsten is now the proud mother of two beautiful daughters and uses her life experience to fuel her deeply inspiring workouts. Mainly, we're going to talk about that a lot today, her intention setting Sundays in particular. I want you to know that you can get lifted with Kirsten as you run together to the beats of her favorite hip hop and R&B tracks. Her playlists are unmatched. And as a runner who has followed Kirsten since her premier run, I was there live for that run, I can tell you that what she brings to Peloton is something unmatched, unleveled. Her care, her concern, her attention to detail in her classes, in her programming, in her messaging. That is why I asked her to be a guest on the Best Today podcast. And I wanted to talk to her in part about one thing she offers on Sundays called Intention Setting Sundays. Now, you all know intentionality is literally a core value here at Best Today. And so I wanted to bring Kirsten on to talk to me about why she chose to even start Intention Setting Sunday, why affirmations are important to her, and what are the type of results she's seen as a result of sharing her affirmations each Sunday on the tread with Peloton members. You're going to hear some of her favorite affirmations. I'm going to share one of my favorites from one of her classes. We talked about so many things, and she has some really, truly encouraging words for you. So I'm going to get out of the way so that you can listen to my conversation with Peloton tread instructor, president of the Ratchet Moms Club, and so much more. Just all around beautiful, beautiful human, Kirsten Ferguson. So let's listen to our conversation. Hello, Kirsten, and welcome to the Best Today podcast. How are you this morning?
Well, first, thank you. It's an honor to be on here with you. So thank you for having me. And this morning, I'm great. I'm in the midst of planning a birthday party for my soon-to-be 6-year-old daughter. So my office, I'm looking at it right now, it's filled with flamingo stuff. But other than that, it's great.
I love that. Is it going to be by the pool?
You know, it's going to be by the pool, flamingo floaties and all. So it's going to be fun.
Excellent. Well, for the people in our audience, the women who do not know who Kirsten Ferguson is, can you please tell us who is Kirsten Ferguson?
Oh, she's a woman of many talents, but for most of y'all, my name is Kirsten Ferguson. I'm a Peloton tread instructor. I've been at Peloton for almost a year. I'm almost coming up on my 1-year Peliversary, which is fun and exciting. It's been an amazing journey. I'm a mom to two young girls. I always say babies. They're not babies anymore. My youngest is Emery. She's turning 6 this week, and Eden is 7. They're the loves of my life. I am the president of the Ratchet Mom Club, which just means that I accept and move forward with life with all the ups and downs and in-betweens. I never claim to be perfect, and I just ride the journey. And I think it's been quite a fun movement with Peloton to see any fellow other Ratchet moms that have joined the club with me. So it's been amazing.
Yes, fellow member right here, card carrying member since you started.
I love it.
Kirsten, I was telling you before we started recording, one of the reasons why I'm just so grateful to have you here today is I believe, well, for me personally, you have been a gift. You joined Peloton right as I was recovering from COVID and getting back into running. And it was really, really challenging for me because my playlists weren't doing it enough for me. And I needed to run with someone else. And I didn't have friends here who could run with me, at 6 a.m, but you became that friend. And it was right when you started. So it was that perfect gift. And now I don't really want to run much without you. So I just want you to know you are such a gift to me. But, one of the gifts you also brought to Peloton is the intention setting Sundays. And I try not to miss one. If I can't catch it live because we're getting ready for church, I am making sure I am getting on that, either going outside or getting on my bike and doing that every Sunday. And what I would love to know is, how did you arrive at this Kirsten who prioritizes intention and affirming truth for yourself daily? Because most of us aren't typically born with that. And we grow up, in our young adult life and then older adult life, just having that skill. So how did you arrive to be this Kirsten?
It's definitely been a journey for me as well. And even as I started teaching, I found that the more honest I was with my journey and my story, the better I started to get at it. And setting affirmations daily for myself has changed my life. It's changed the way I look at life, the outlook of life. We can always look at all the things that may not be going our way, but it's just a quick shift in the mindset. And so I really felt like this was a piece that I could bring to the tread. And when I first started it, it wasn't even intention setting Sunday. It was just me with longer walking content. They gave me that opportunity early on to start teaching longer walking content on Sunday. And I was like, how can I make this a moment for people to reset or start their week off on the right foot or just in the right mindset? And eventually, one Sunday, I just started giving affirmations, and then it just clicked for me. And every time I step on the tread, even if it's just one person that I speak to, then it's a complete win for me. And so that is really why I started doing it. And honestly, all of the affirmations that I say every Sunday, a lot of times are things that I'm walking through. I don't want anybody to think that when I step on that tread, I'm just standing up there preaching. No, these are things that I'm walking through on a daily basis as a mother, as a woman, as a Black woman navigating life, as someone that is navigating a world as a single mom, all new things in my life that I'm walking through. And so if one person on there is experiencing that and they can take something away from that, then that's incredible. And that's a win for me. And that's always been my goal. That's always been my why I even started teaching, was just sharing my truth in the hope that it can minister the heart of somebody that's also walking through it and knowing that they're not alone in it.
Yes.
So that has always been my why.
As you were talking, I was trying to write this down so I didn't forget. I love that you said it's also just sharing who you are right now. You're not professing to say, hey, I'm coming on here to give you these affirmations about all these things that I've, mastered in life. Like I'm over that hurdle and never again, but it's right where you are. That in itself, I think, will empower so many people to understand that they don't have to wait until, I'm going to wait until I'm not good enough because right now I'm in this struggle or I'm this. No one wants to hear about my experience because of X, Y, or Z. But what you just said is so powerful. It's even when we're in the thick of it, we still have something that we can offer someone. I think you sharing that just freed someone listening who's been telling themselves all the reasons why they can't because of some perceived like arrival or perfection. And I'd love to hear, what has been the impact of those intention setting Sundays? I know you have to hear from so many of us fellow Pelotoners who are, in your club and fan club. And what has been the impact of something that you started, just like you said, just saying some affirmations, and now people look forward to it. It's like, if you're not there, we're like, hashtag, where's Kirsten, right? You're not allowed to go on vacation on Sundays, right? Like we look forward to it. Tell me about that impact that you've been able to witness.
It's been beautiful. I've seen so many stories come through of something I've said that has either inspired someone to take the next step on a career or take the next step in life or having difficult conversations. I've seen stories of women walking through, or men walking through things in life, and just the one thing I said just reaffirmed where they are at. especially one of my favorite, well, I have two favorites.
Yeah.
One of my favorite intention setting Sunday was the one that was talk about fear. Because I think it's something that it's a daily battle for a lot of us. And so that was one of my favorite classes that I brought myself to tears in class. And then also my Mother's Day walk plus run was very special, where I shared my journey, my fertility journey. And I shared it in the hopes that if anybody on there that was walking through that could understand that I was there and they're not alone, and you can make it to the other side, and this community has your back. And I always want to just create the space for everyone to feel welcome, seen, heard. So the feedback has been absolutely incredible. And it inspires me, when someone says, you know what, you convinced me to go apply for that job. And then they write me back, I didn't get that job, but I'm not giving up. And then they write me back, okay, I applied for another job. Kirsten, I got the job. Thank you. So it's notes like that just make me realize that I am moving in purpose. Like I always say, we're on a purpose walk. We're walking on purpose with a purpose for a purpose. And it's just reaffirming that I'm moving in the way I need to. And listen, I know I'm not always going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that is just fine. But the people that I know that need to hear the messages are there. And that's my why. It's never to me about the numbers. It's never to me about what people are saying. If it really is, if one thing I can say can inspire someone else, then that's incredible. And that's the win for me.
Absolutely. I'm going to link in the show notes. I'll put the dates for those class that Kirsten just mentioned, the fear and the Mother's Day. And I'm also going to link to the Father's Day, because the Father's Day really was one of my favorites also. I was just getting teary. Mother's Day, I cried too, but I knew I was ready. I was like, she gonna make us cry today. Right. But Father's Day really got to me also. It's just, what I love is it's so clear that you are intentional about the intention setting Sundays. You're not in the car on the way to the studio, like, okay, what we going to tell them today? Here's a good thing. It's very clear that you put thought into this, and you're trying to think about, and maybe it's what you needed in the week, or, what you think you feel from this community. And that's what I love so much about Peloton. I love that it's very clear that you are in tune with us, even though we're not right there with you in the studio, but you're in tune into, I know someone in my community needs to hear this. There's been no intention that you have given that kind of fell on no ears, right? It fell on someone because someone needed that, and you had to be in tune and purposeful with that. So that's one of my favorite things, that is very evident. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's received so well, because we know you've taken the time to think about what we need for this upcoming week. And some of them
usually takes me about a week. It usually takes me about a week to prepare for Sunday. I'm playlisting. I'm thinking about what I want to talk about. I'm thinking about what the workout is, and at what part of the workout do I want to hit you with motivation and an affirmation, or are we in a recovery and I want you to think, and I want the music to carry the thought. There's a lot that goes into those Sunday classes. One, because they are longer content, right? So you have to come up with what the plan is, but also align the thoughts with the music, with timing, letting the thought live for a second. And also letting you have fun too. You got to have a little fun in there as well. So I like to mix it all. It really has become one of my favorite classes to teach. It just has become a really safe, vulnerable space. Everybody's always like, I got to bring tissues, but sometimes it's just, you don't even know it's going to come. There's been classes where I'm talking and I didn't even realize I was going to get emotional, and all of a sudden I do. And it really is a form of release. And that's what working out has always been for me, is a place of peace and release. And so if I can create that environment for other people, and it's so beautiful. And one of the most amazing things about Peloton is that I can create it and we're not in the same space. It still blows my mind that that's possible. And so if I could create that for y'all, then it's such a win for me. And my heart is so full when I step off the tread, because I also feel like a release, so if I feel that, I hope and I pray that, y'all feel it too, you know?
We do. And you're right. It's time just right, because I can't be too in my fields when I'm trying to also sprint or run, if I'm trying to be in like a 6'5". But if you're saying something that's also like reminding me of something that like I could go after, it's like you set the mood for what our bodies are doing so that it like all lines up perfectly. And talking about intentional, because like I said, you have to be very intentional when setting that up. It's so clear. What does, like when we're talking about life off the tread, what does living a life of intention look like for you off the tread?
You know, I really try to practice what I speak about. You know, it's in those tough moments, in those tough days, in those moments where I am completely overwhelmed, where there's expectations and demands on me as a mother, in my job, in my personal life, with friendships, learning the power of no, balancing what my priorities are. It could be a lot. And so getting back into that, dealing with imposter syndrome. This is my first year at Peloton, doing something that I never thought was in the cards for me, you know? So there are moments where I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Am I doing it? Am I good at this? Am I supposed to be doing this? I have those moments as just like anybody else would, you know? So getting back into those affirmations, getting back into, I have Post-it notes all over my house, by the way, where I walk by different affirmations, you know, even especially in the morning. And then it's been something that I've instilled in my daughters too. So we pull up to drop off and I have a set of affirmations that we say together before they get out of the car. And now they know them by heart. And I think it's just important as they navigate through life too, to dip back into that, you know, I am smart. I am enough. I am confident. I am confident in my own skin, you know, because they're going to face things that I can't protect them from. And so I want them to kind of, you know, get back into that too. You know, even right here on my computer, I am enough, because there's moments where I sit down and I'm either programming a class that I'm nervous about. You're enough. You're enough. You know, and dipping back into that.
Yeah. How do you come up with your affirmations for you personally, for when you thought about your daughters, and of course for Intention Setting Sundays?
Such a good question. I'm inspired everywhere. So I have a text thread with myself where I literally am texting myself back and forth. I could be walking in the grocery store and one will come to me, or I could be reading a book and one will come to me. I could be listening to a sermon and one will come to me. And so I get inspiration from everywhere. I could be scrolling through Instagram and I'm like, oh, that's an Intention Sunday, you know, and I'll just need one and then I can just go off of that. Or it could be a song. It could be a song that I'm going to put in the playlist and I'm like, oh, that's one, you know, and then I'll just go from there and I'll think about, you know, the story that I want to tell. It could be talking to my girlfriend and hearing something that she's going through. And I'm like, I may not be going through that right now, but I'm sure somebody on Sunday will be going through that. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the uncomfortable things that some people may not want to talk about. I think that's also the challenge of being an instructor sometimes, is we live in this crazy world and we have to navigate it with grace and love. Even if we have a strong opinion on something, we need to know that not everybody thinks like us. And how can we create a space of love and peace despite turmoil, despite everything is going on in the world? How can we still create that space for everyone? So a lot of getting inspiration from everywhere is the long answer to that question, for sure.
At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hi, I just wanted to share my experience using the Best Today guide and the Plans Be Done pad. I got the Best Today guide probably a year ago and never used it because I tend to get planners and not use them. but this was more than a planner. It elevates your game, so to speak, and what you really need to be focusing on. And I was very, very, very impressed with the way it was laid out and how it focuses you more on what actually needs to be done and not a to-do list. So it has really helped me stay on track the last month, or almost 2 months now that I've been using it. And the other item that I use is the Plans Be Done pad, which has helped me to just completely flip the script on how I go into projects that I have to do or anything that I need to do when it comes to something I really need to focus in on, because it makes me set up a roadmap for success, hit certain milestones and celebrate those. And I 100% will give Best Today Guide and the Plans Be Done the credit for me finally passing my certification that I had been putting off, and for having a successful CrossFit members competition. It was the best run event that we had, and I completely believe it was because of the Plans Be Done. I've started another project with Plans Be Done, and it's really helped keep me on track. The products are amazing. The company is amazing. The community is amazing. And if you need to find a good place to feel uplifted and have real conversations and get real support and real advice, the Best Today community is definitely the place that you will get that and the place to go. I can't recommend it more. It is really that good. So go get your stuff today. Best Today Guide and Plans Be Done. Thank you.
First, Julie, I am so over the moon ecstatic for you, proud of the work that you have done and put in. If you didn't hear the first thing she said, y'all, she bought her Best Today Guide over a year ago. And listen, maybe that's you. Maybe you bought a Best Today Guide in excitement of getting started and is sat there. Today is the day to open it up, come inside the community, get the help you need, open those videos that we have on our website, on our YouTube channel, and get started. Also, major congratulations to you, Julie, on passing your exam and being a certified Parks and Recreation executive. We're so proud of you. Also, I took notes listening to her. She passed her certification. She had her best CrossFit run event. She's been able to plan multiple projects using the Plans Be Done pad and the Plans Be Done program, knowing exactly how to use it. Y'all, when I tell you I create these products to work together so that you can build upon them, this is living proof of what that looks like. So congratulations again to you, Julie. If you would like to learn more about the Best Today Guide, Plans Be Done, which is our online program teaching you how to execute your plans without procrastination or perfectionism, and giving you the tools with the actual Plans Be Done notepad, you can find all of that at besttoday.co. That's besttoday.co. Go today, check it out. And if you're not sure where to start, we have a quiz for you right there on our website at besttoday.co/quiz. Take that quiz today and it'll tell you exactly where to start. Still have a question? Come chat with us over in the Best Today community at besttodaycommunity.com, or as always, email us at hello@besttoday.co. But I want to see you out there winning. Congratulations, Julie. I am so proud of you. Now, get back to the episode, but first, make sure you go to besttoday.co. I have a text thread with myself as well. This is how I know we're like, when you said that, I was like, I thought I was the only person that texts back and forth, because I'll get an idea somewhere. And it's the one thing that I know I can, instead of having on different notepads, having that like text. So I just text myself.
There.
Yes.
I'll go back to that. I never want anybody to think that, that I'm just saying them just to say them. Like I'll hear things and then it could be even a quote that I'll read and then I'll kind of put it into my own words. What would I say to myself in that moment? And those are the kind of affirmations I go to. So yeah, that's really how it all comes to be.
I love that. And the thing I like about affirmations is what they really do is help us to have to create a really healthy internal dialogue, is giving a change, because our minds naturally go to the negative. Our minds actually, our brains are wired to have a negativity bias. Our brain remembers negative experiences in part because it believes it's going to protect us. But it's really important. I always say the person who talks to you the most every day is you, but it's up here. And so how would someone who's listening begin to identify what affirmations they need? Because it's really just figuring out what you need and what you need to change the conversation in your mind. How would they start to figure out, how do I know what affirmation I need?
Yeah. I mean, I think you would go to, at least my process is if I am starting to have that negative self-talk, I always go to, well, what else is just as likely?
Mm-hmm.
That's happening, but isn't it just as likely that you may succeed? Isn't it just as likely that you will get the job? Isn't it just as likely all will work out in your favor? Isn't it just as likely the money's going to come? Isn't it just as likely the doctor report won't be as bad as you think? Isn't it just as likely you are going to run that marathon well and not quit? Is it just as likely that you will, lose the weight that you're desiring to lose for yourself? So it's like, once you go into that negative space, I want you to dip back onto the other side of, isn't it just as likely ... And that's how I process it. Yeah. And also it's having a person that's a good soundboard. Mine is Jess Sims. We talk so much, but she's also like my voice of reason too. What I can go to, I'm like, Jess, this is what I'm thinking right now. And she'll be like, all right, what is fact? Remember, what do you know is fact? Because we can also tell ourselves the biggest, best, New York Times best-selling novel about what is going to happen.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, none of that happens. So number one, what is fact? What has happened? And number 2, what is within your control? And number 3, what is the story you're telling around it? And once you have those honest conversations with yourself and you kind of know all of these things, isn't it just as likely that X will happen for you?
Yeah. And I think that hits an important part, is having the right person in your circle, because a lot of times that's what those people can help mirror what we don't see. And you don't want someone who's mirroring something that isn't true or something negative. So that's so important. Like, having that person who can come and say, okay, Kirsten, let's have a little heart to heart. Number one, let's check your resume. You need someone like, you are that person.
Exactly.
That's it, right? To remind you of who you are.
100%. Even when I was in training, I would call her and I'd be like, I may have had a bad rehearsal. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they're probably thinking they got the wrong one. Let me remind everyone, I never taught a day on the tread when I started at Peloton. I was a cycling instructor. So running was very new to me. And when I first started, I was like, can I do this? Can I run and talk? I could barely run. Now I got to talk and run and cue and sound like I know what I'm talking about. So there were so many days I was in my head, they hired the wrong one. They're going to say, you know what, Kirsten, thank you so much for your time. But I had to remind myself I was chosen for a reason. And once I accepted that, and once I said, you know what, there's somebody on here that's walking through the same thing where maybe they weren't a runner and now they're going to try. And if I can teach a walk class and convince them to try running and take them along on the journey with me, that's who I need to be. Kirsten does not need to be Nat Wilpers. Kirsten does not need to be Bex Gendry. Kirsten does not need to be Marcel, who's all fantastic and amazing, but that is not why they hired Kirsten. They hired Kirsten to be Kirsten. And I think it's going back to that too. You can always look around and, comparison is truly the thief of joy. And you can compare yourself with other people, but what is your why? Why are you doing this? And getting back into that is important too.
Yeah. And I'm so glad. Thank you for mentioning that, that you, before you came to Peloton, were not a tread instructor. You were on the bike. And that for me, and like I'm so glad you mentioned that. Every instructor at Peloton is like how they find y'all is like beyond me. Y'all are literally all amazing. But selfishly speaking, I needed Kirsten Ferguson. This November will be my 3rd year of being a runner. And before that, and right into in my journey, I got COVID, and then trying to come back and pick that back up. And like I said, that's when you were just starting. One of my first runs was doing your premiere run. And then I found out you were a mom. I was like, this is it. This is it. This is you are my running coach. You are my running buddy. You are my running coach. And we needed you exactly as you are, because even in your premiere, just listening to you and your story, I connected with you. One, this is a Black woman who is on this tread running. Number 2, she's a mom to 2, just like me, 2 littles. I've got 3. He'll be 4 this month and 9. And it was just those things that made me feel seen and connected. And then later on, it wasn't until later that I learned you didn't even come from being a prior runner. It just encourages me to say, we can do anything. So I hope you know that we needed specifically exactly you at Peloton. And so I'm so grateful that you shared that, because maybe the people listening didn't know that you came to Peloton and run. They had to train you to do this. Like you said, teach, because you guys got to talk and you talk, right? You don't leave us hanging, because that's one of the reasons I love running with you, because it's like someone's having a conversation with me. It's not like 3 minutes and it's like just Good me love it, right? So that takes a lot of skill. So thank you for that. I just want to let you know we needed exactly who you are. So thank you. And we needed a Ratchet Mom Club too, right?
We needed the Ratchet Mom Club. We needed somebody to let us know that, listen, you don't have to be the Martha Stewart perfect mother. Like, you can come as you are. We're all figuring it out. There's no rule book to this thing. So yeah, I'm excited to be on this journey and meeting so many of the members and hearing their stories. It's just been incredible. And, getting back into Intention Setting Sunday, I was so happy to be able to teach longer walking content, because I think that is the bridge to getting into running. And that's why I'm very intentional with the way I program the classes leading up to the 60-minute walk plus run, so that you can feel a sense of achievement when you get to that class. And then bringing y'all along on the journey throughout the week is fun too. So,
yeah, I would love to know what's been some of your favorite or most impactful affirmations that you shared so far on Intention Setting Sundays.
Oh my goodness, there's so many. I think one that I constantly go to in different ways is I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Because I literally have it right here, and I say it to myself daily. And I think a lot of us need to be told that in many different phases. And I think we need to repeat it to ourselves on a daily basis. I am enough. There's some fun ones that I did where it was something about keys, like you want to open up a new door, but you're using old keys. So that one was a fun one too. So I feel like every week they're just ones that I need to say or hear or feel. And especially from the Mother's Day one, you are not forgotten, was a big one. That was one that I had to tell myself a lot while I was going through my infertility journey. So I think those would be my top. It's hard to choose one because every week
it's so many.
It's like so you have in your tool belt. And I even go back to on my top of my Instagram page, in my highlights, I have the affirmations from every week. And so I go back to those and I look at them and, I dip back into them too, so.
We'll link to those in the show notes as well for your highlight. I think for me, one of my favorites, it was not too long ago, was Dance Anyway. I think it was really short, but basically no matter, even when something goes wrong, and I just remind myself of that when something frustrating happens and my first reaction is to sit in that. I just say, you know what? Literally, and sometimes I will pause and put on a song and dance anyway, because If I had to choose between sitting in the frustration and dancing anyway, I'd rather feel the way my body feels if I choose to just dance anyway.
Dance anyway.
No matter what.
That was from the Father's Day.
Yes. I told you that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That one stuck with me.
During Luther Vandross, I was like, oh, this song makes me cry just like listening to it.
The
affirmations on top of it. And the story I told during there, I was like, Kirsten, you are not right for this.
You not.
I was not right for that, but I will dance anyway is an important affirmation, especially someone that's walking through a storm or someone that feels like they've been wronged by someone or still carrying past trauma. You're going to dance anyway, baby, and you're still going to shine and you're still going to succeed despite the things of your past. And I think that's a good affirmation to hold on to for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kirsten. I just want to lead with, tell me what words you have. Our audience are women who desire to live a life of intention. They want to dance anyway, right? They really do want to be intentional with this one life we've been given. What words do you have for them as they think about how to speak more positively, think more positively, say really truth affirming things themselves? What words do you have for them as they leave this podcast and really try to take in, how do I start doing intention setting for myself? How do I start really affirming true things that I need for myself? What words do you have for them?
One would be, a lot of times we are the first version of ourselves that we see in the reflection of our mirror. So what would you say to that person before you start your day? Would you start with negativity or would you rather start with positivity? And I think every day you are given a new opportunity for that. And a lot of times we carry over things from the day before, but every day you get a new opportunity, a fresh start. And so today, what if you looked in the mirror and you said, I'm proud of you. You are enough. You are incredible. And started speaking to yourself like how you would to your children. And be the example of how you are ultimately their first example. So if you're talking to yourself negatively, what do you think they're going to do? And so I think leading your day, knowing that, saying that today is a new day, looking at yourself in reflection and reaffirming who you are. There's only one of you. There's only one of you. And we are so lucky and grateful to be blessed with your presence. You have to move like that. Look at yourself in the mirror. You are enough. You are capable. You are qualified. And you are destined for greatness, whatever that looks like for you. It could just be getting through the day without losing your mind with your 2 kids. That is enough. A lot of times we feel like we have to do all the things on the list. We have to accomplish all the things. We have to make sure our Apple Watch, the ring is complete. It's okay. You're still enough if that ring doesn't complete. If you don't get all the things at Trader Joe's that you need to, it's okay. You are enough. If you didn't get that thing done today, it's okay. You're enough. You're still enough. That is what I want everyone to kind of take away from listening to this. Look yourself in the mirror, speak kind to yourself, lead with love, and it starts with you. You're the first version of self-love to yourself, or first version of love to yourself. Mm-hmm. So speak kind to it,
Thank you, Kirsten. How can we connect and how can we support you online and offline? Please let us know.
You can follow me at I am Kirsten Ferguson on Instagram. I'm Kirsten Ferguson on Facebook. You could join the Ratchet Mom Club. You can hashtag Queen K Click. We are a movement. You can take intention setting Sundays. Right now it's on Sundays at 8:30 Eastern. You can download the app. If you do not have the tread, it is still possible. A lot of those classes are walking classes where you could take it outside. The hikes are a little challenging because I do take you up pretty high on the hike, but you could still move with us. The playlists are there. I know a lot of people that even just listen to it in their car sometimes, just to hear the music, to hear the words. and just know that we are an amazing community that are looking to support. I think that's one of the beautiful things too, that I get to witness is people from all over the world coming together and supporting each other, and they've never met. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful space to be. So that's where you can find me. I am on the tread. I am also have outdoor content on Peloton as well. So you don't have a tread, does not need to stop you. If you have the bike, a lot of people take my classes on the bike too. When I push up a hill, you add that resistance, honey. When I'm sprinting, you take your resistance down and you go. So don't let that stop you either. So that's where you can find me, and I'll be waiting for you.
Yes, thank you. I took the run with you and Robin on my bike because it was at nighttime, and I usually run outside. And so I just got on the bike, and like you said, when you push one thing, I did another. And so you can take the class. The bike will link to, and again, I'm going to link those 3 classes: the Mother's Day class, the Fear class, and the Father's Day class. 3 of my favorites. If you've not taken a class with Kirsten, though, you're going to love it. And the playlists are always right, right for the money. Yes, we can tell. But thank you so much, Kirsten. I know time is so valuable, and you are a woman who has a lot of fantastic things going on. So thank you for sharing your time, your energy with us on the Best Today podcast. And we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're looking for me, I am about 10 feet above the clouds. I am just so honored that I had the opportunity to have that conversation with Kirsten and to bring her here so that you could hear, just hear all the things that she had to share today. In the show notes today, we are linking to everything that we mentioned. I'm also going to link to her highlights of affirmations, where you can find all of her affirmations in one place. If you are not a Peloton user right now, remember, you do not have to have a tread or bike. Before I even owned the bike, I was doing classes almost daily just with the app. So I want to remind you that you can get started with the Peloton app, and they usually are running some type of special where you can get the app for at least 1 month for free. So please make sure to really tap into what they have to offer at Peloton. It's beyond the tread, but in particular, I know you want to take those walk runs with Kirsten on Sundays for Intention Setting Sunday. I will link to everything in the show notes. Thank you again for being present with me for today's episode and for showing up for this fantastic guest of ours today, Kirsten Ferguson. Again, I call it my running coach. She is my running buddy. So thank you for being present with me for this week's episode. If you can't tell, I'm still just elated. Until next time, remember that you are capable and you are worthy. And Kirsten reminded you that you are enough. You are worthy of being your best, one today at a time. And you already have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you again on the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.